question for you, Rick. It's kind of a personal one, but what did you think of Jehovah's Witnesses before this case?
You know, I don't really think that I thought, you know, something good or something bad. Institutions, in my personal philosophy, that are created by people are flawed because people are flawed. And so to find a flaw in the institution neither shocks nor surprises me at this point. 10 years ago, when I was asked to be the Northern California liaison for the Roman Catholic clergy cases, I said, well, how many could there be? And I learned that there were hundreds. And I saw documents and, you know, got testimony from bishops and up and down the line, and talked to priests who had spent years in San Quentin and were out again. And by the time I think that I met Candace, I didn't have any illusions about the nature of human institutions of any kind where their self-interest is weighed against protecting children, and that there were many institutions and remain many institutions that will put their self-interest, financial or public image ahead of children. And that includes Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned previously that there were numerous secret settlements. I was wondering how many there are and how do you even find out about this?
Well, I was wondering the same thing. I know there were 2 the month before in San Diego, because the lawyer in San Diego and I were working together, coordinating our information and experts in our approach to the cases. Frankly, I was glad his case settled, because I didn't want his case to go before Candace's, because I thought we had the better case. I knew there were others because I got published opinions involving their disposition, and I talked to lawyers who had sued them before to get information and thoughts. I knew there were others in California because some of them had involved litigation of the question of privilege, and I knew that my trial judge's brother, who was on the Court of Appeal, had ruled on one of those cases, and I happened to include that in one of the arguments that we had about the question of privilege. I knew that there were others because in the website of Jehovah's Witnesses, they admitted to several, although their number was probably off by something in the neighborhood of thousands, but they did certainly claim or admit that there had been lawsuits. I knew because I got a call from a lawyer in Texas who had handled several, and I knew because Bill Bowen told me about several that he had known about or been involved in, or at least provided information for. So by the time you add up all those, gee, I learned about this and that and the other thing, I knew there were a lot of lawsuits out there, but none of them had ever gone to trial and successfully got a verdict. This is the first in the country as far as we can tell.
So this is a law question. Settlement means they don't admit guilt or responsibility, and they just pay out money?
Yeah, and they keep it secret. The thing about settlements that is different in, for example, the Catholic Church, is in the Catholic Church, the bishops passed a resolution in Dallas in 2003, I think, that there could be no secret settlements. It's the same thing with like a school district. If there's a molestation in a school district, you know, there's these cases down in Los Angeles now, that's public money, it's a public school district, there can be no secret settlements. But in the absence of that, there's a right for parties in some states, and there's some restrictions depending on where you are, to enter into a secret settlement. And we knew that all of the settlements that Jehovah's Witnesses had entered into contained a confidentiality provision, and that any settlement that they would want to make in our case would include a confidentiality provision. And of course, I mean, we weren't interested in settling to begin with because of all the reasons that Candace has talked about, but they do secret settlements, and that's how they operate.
That's just shocking to me. It's just absolutely shocking. But can you put a number? I know it's not an accurate number, but what are you talking? Are you talking thousands? 10,000? 500?
I believe thousands, but I don't know.
Right.
Don't know.
Yeah.
And the judge wouldn't really allow us. That was one of the issues. As the judge narrowed the kinds of things that we were allowed to use, which is typical in all cases. One of the issues that he would not allow me to go into was the number of other lawsuits and claims and reports. It was as if it was in a vacuum. And they in fact told the jury in the punitive damage phase of the argument that this was the first time they'd ever had such a lawsuit, which was absolutely a lie.
Who said that?
The lawyer for Watchtower told the jury that they never had this before. That was just totally.
You haven't straight
BS.
from the record?
No, it didn't matter because nobody believed him anyway. So I didn't care what the more, you know, it was like, hey, lay it on thick, you know, because they ain't buying it, so I don't care.
And you, just one more question and then I'll pass it. You had said that no one from the governing body was there to,
No, the
Who
legal
was there?
department was there. They had, I think, 3 representatives from the legal department there through the whole trial. But they did not have any representative of the governing body. And one of the things we're allowed to do is to take depositions. That's a statement you take under oath in a question and answer format as part of the preparation for the lawsuit. So I set up the deposition of Watchtower, New York as a corporation, and they have to designate a representative and certain subjects, and I had a modest list of subjects. And so I went back to New York, to Patterson, to their headquarters, and took the corporate deposition, and the guy they produced and who was the corporate representative at the trial was essentially the equivalent of Rosie the Riveter, an assistant overseer in the service department, very, you know, way down the ranks, and he was the official spokesperson. So one of the things the jury talked about afterwards is, well, if this was really not their policy, why didn't somebody from the governing body come and tell us that? The fact that the governing body ignored us completely is very disrespectful, and, you know, shows that they don't understand the gravity of protecting kids against child sex abuse. So they were very very much aware of the fact that nobody came.
They may not even know they're the case, the governing body. Well, the reason I say that is because of I've actually had literal dealings with members of that body. I've gone to New York, and from my conversation with them, they're not really involved. They're hidden behind the corporation. The corporation does what they do. They don't even get involved in that kind of stuff. They don't even get the mail. I've sent certified return receipt requested and other people sign for it, and they're really insulated from a lot of stuff.
I'll take your word for it.